So I had to take a zero today. It was scheduled before we even left on the trip. But while we're here, I wanted to say the filming I've been doing. I haven't been using my normal camera. I've just been using my phone, and I haven't been using a laptop to edit anything. So the the videos have been really just basic. But while we're here, I want to talk in some of the videos about the different gear that we're using instead of just doing one gear review video. I just figured along the way we would talk about different things. So today we're just going to talk a little bit about the shoes, socks, gaiters, and trekking poles that we're using. So I guess starting out with the shoes, I got some of the Ultra Lone Peak 4s. It's the first time I've ever used trail runners on a backpacking trip. I spent some time breaking them in before we left, and they've been really good. The only time I had any issues at all with them was when we were coming down Giant City. Um, there was a long hill and it had a bunch of little rocks just everywhere, and I was getting hot and tired and all that kind of stuff. And so coming down, I was kind of getting sloppy with the way I was coming down, and the bottoms of my feet were hurting a little bit by the time we got through that. But other than that, having zero issues with these.
And I'm taking the Lone Peak 7s. I love them. I broke them in for a long time before I was wearing them as my normal shoes at home. I love the white toe box. I put on some hiking boots at one point about a week or so ago, and you can really tell how cramped your feet are in the hiking boots. Same thing with Dan going down some of the hills with the bigger rocks. You can really feel them, and it kind of tests your ankles a little bit, but really had no issue with, you know, twisting or anything like that. It was just, I think we were just tired and really worn out. So, but other than that, they're pretty solid.
Yeah, and then with the gaiters, this is also the first time I've used a gaiter, and man, these are worth every penny. I would pay 3 times as much for these. They weren't very expensive, but mine are Dirty Girl gaiters, and one thing I like about the Lone Peaks is got the Velcro on the back, so the gaiter attaches back there and stays in place. After 3 days of backpacking, I had one of them raise up in the back a little bit one time. We were walking through a lot of weeds, but other than that, they stayed in place. Did their job great. No getting sticks and stuff down in your shoe or little rocks or anything. They use Dirty Girl gaiters. They got a lot of different designs and stuff, but absolutely worth the money.
And I have the Ultra Trail Running gaiters. It has the Velcro on the back on both sides, so the Velcro on the Lone Peaks will grab on both sides and really keep them secure. Never had these run up. I did, there's a small hole in this one that I probably got wandering through some of the thick underbrush. But other than that, I mean, they're pretty good to have, just to keep everything under your shoe. And you know, these are all, what do we sprayed them with the Promethean.
Oh yeah, that Sawyer makes that, the same brand that makes the Sawyer water filters. They make that Promethean, and we sprayed them with that.
Yeah, so we haven't ran into any issues with like ticks or chiggers or anything like that around our feet and shoes and ankles.
Yeah, and speaking of that, there's a guy coming from the opposite direction. He started the same day that we did on this trail, and he what, 2 days into it or something like that. He said he's been getting tore up by chiggers and all kinds of bugs and stuff. And I don't know if he used that, but we sprayed the Promethean on our shoes, our gaiters, shirts, and shorts, and not a single tick, not a single issue at all.
I haven't even noticed any issues with mosquitoes. I don't know
Yeah,
if,
no.
if there's a different habitat that
Where he's at.
where he's at that has more mosquitoes, but we haven't noticed anything at all.
Yeah. And when Chris was saying about the Velcro on both sides of his gaiters, these Dirty Girl gaiters only have Velcro on one side, which kind of sucks because the shoe, it's got Velcro here and here. So if you had it on both sides, you could just put it there, and then this Velcro would attach too, like his does. But these, at least this particular pair of Dirty Girl Gators only has it on one side. And I guess socks. I got Swift Wick socks. They're really low profile socks. I was using them for about a month or so when I was doing some training hikes. Really used and abused them, and you've been using them out here. No issues at all.
And I have a few Darn Tough socks. I think they're the low hiker ones. I tried out some Injinji toe socks. I like those too, but I went ahead and just took these out on the trail because I takes a while to get used to with the toe socks, just in going in between the toes, and these I felt did just as good of a job. And I mean, coming down some of the roads and some of the hills and going up the hills, I haven't really felt any hot spots that I had to address at all with these. So they're pretty tight on your feet and don't move around much. So
Yeah, I do like the way some socks you can kind of feel loose, and then you kind of get that friction and everything, but same with those. No hot spots, no issues, no nothing. Trekking poles, we weighed our trekking poles. I got Luca tape on mine. I don't know if you got anything on there, but mine weighed 20 ounces, and they're Ozark Trails. I like the cork handles, and then also this rubber handle down here when you're on a really steep climb. Instead of having to adjust your pole or anything, if you just, instead of reaching here, you reach here, it works out great. Other than that, I mean, it's just a trekking pole. Ozark Trails, cheap, Walmart, $30.
are they aluminum?
Yeah. I weigh about 20 ounces, and been working great.
And I have the Lucky Kumba Lights from REI. I bought them at REI. Probably buy them other places. They have cork handle. I think they call it Cortec or something like that. And these were about 15 ounces, maybe a little more, depending on how the wrist straps laid whenever I weighed them. These are made out of aluminum also. Kind of debated on titanium or aluminum. I think there's pros and cons for both of them, but I think if you're just carrying them, it's probably not that big of an issue if they're a few ounces bigger, few ounces more than anything. So yeah, these don't have the grip further down, so I just have to reach down and do that. So, but yeah, that's these.
I like those that have that little clip right here on right there. It looks like you could maybe lock your pulls together or something like that. And
It's kind of, that's what I did whenever I
yeah, just clip
couldn't
it
find
in.
a good place to.
Yeah.
And then I just wrapped the
Oh yeah, it works out pretty
ground
well.
and leaned up against the tree, so you didn't have to worry about that. I think, but
Yeah, and I don't have anything fancy like that on mine. I did lose one of my baskets, and I just blame that on I didn't check them before we left and make sure they were tight. But we went through a whole bunch of weeds, and whenever I came out, one of the baskets was missing. Not a big deal. Trekking poles, watching videos and stuff of other people backpacking over the years and stuff. I've seen people with cheap trekking poles break really quick, and I've seen people with cheap trekking poles last for a very long time. Same thing with the expensive ones. You can get a $200 pair and they can break really quick, or you can get a $200 pair and same brand and they last forever. I think like he got his stuck in a rock as he was coming down, and I was surprised it didn't break it, but it didn't affect it at all. But I think a lot of whether they break or not is how you use them and abuse them, and in the odd situations when he was coming down a hill and it stuck between two rocks, that kind of stuff's pretty hard on him. But that's, you have anything else?
no, I think I covered everything.
So that's some of the gear that we're using. This stuff's been working really great. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about more of our gear later, but pretty much everything we got's been working out pretty good.
Yeah, the first 3 days before the 0 day was kind of a see how it goes, and I haven't had any issue with needing to swap anything out, or well, maybe I should have brought this rather than that type of thing yet. So I think everything we have is pretty solid.
Yeah, that's one thing that it kind of sucked having a 0 day, leaving on Monday and having a 0 day on a Thursday, but one of the things that would have been nice about it is if some of the gear wasn't quite working right, or we figured, something at home would work better, it gave us that opportunity to switch out, but yeah, we didn't need to switch out anything, just restock our food and wash our clothes, and that was it. So that was it. Hopefully this helps somebody. We'll be back out there tomorrow and get back to finish this trip.